You'll sometimes need to query for documents where a field value is greater than, less than, or between certain values, and this is what a range query is for. Range queries are commonly run against numeric, date, and IP fields, but could also be run against range field types to find documents with a range in a given range. To write a range query, you provide the field to match against and the matching criteria. The criteria indicate the maximum and minimum values and whether matches should be inclusive, less than or equal to, or less than, for example. You don't need to provide both ends of the range. You can include only the maximum end of the range to automatically match anything less than that value. I'll work through a few examples using the ID field to match different ranges. To match documents with an ID greater than or equal to 10,000, we only need to include the lower bound. Any document with an ID field value of 10,000 or greater will be matched. We use the GTE property to do this match. To change the condition to just greater than, we only need to swap the GTE property to GT. Less than and less than or equal to use the LT and LTE properties. We can combine both the maximum and minimum values together, and both of these criteria must be met in order for a document to be considered a match. It effectively builds a filter string saying, match all documents with an ID that's less than or equal to 20,000 and greater than or equal to 10,000. You can use the same syntax for matching dates. We'll look at using date and date range queries in the next lesson, as it's worth covering date arithmetic at the same time. Range queries can also match range fields. You're able to select one of 3 different rules to define what a match is. Matches can be produced when a document's field range overlaps with a query range, when it contains a query range, or when it is within a query range. This will be easier to show with some examples. I'll create an index with an integer range field and add a single document with a range of greater than or equal to 5 and less than or equal to 15 and show some examples. The property we pass to the range query to define how to match other range fields is called relation. To match using the intersect relation, you can specify a value of intersect for the relation parameter or leave it out completely as it's the default value. The document's field range only needs to partially overlap with the query range. It can match partially at either end or overlap completely. Using a value of contains for the relation parameter requires that the document value must completely contain the query value. The bounds of the query range must be within the bounds of the document's range. The inverse of using contains is a value of within. In this scenario, the document value must be within the query value. The document's range must be smaller than the query range and fall completely within it. Each of these parameters can be useful in different situations, depending on your use case. Matching a range with a range isn't something I've needed to do very often, but your data is different from mine, so it's worth understanding what's possible.